Jim Mojo Morrison here at the Spectrum Center as we get set for the 2019 ACC Tournament. We're joined by Duke legend and Raycom broadcast analyst Mike Gminski. And Mike, as you guys at Raycom get set for perhaps your final ACC broadcast this week, I talked to your buddy Tim Brando earlier. What are the emotions and the thoughts going through as you guys get ready for the final week of Raycom as we know it?
Well, for me, I'm just going to try to concentrate on the games, and it's more of a celebration than a funeral. I've been fortunate to be a part of it since 2002. So, a lot of great memories. I've had some great partners. The Raycom is a family and has always been that way, and so I just am going to appreciate it, having played in this tournament 4 times and, broadcasted it now. I think this will be my 17th or 18th year. Just enjoy it for what it is.
You mentioned you've played in it and you've broadcast it. What makes the ACC tournament second to none?
Well, I've seen so much. Back, my first 2 years, there were 7 teams in the league. And then my last 2 years, Georgia Tech joined, so that grew it to 8. And now you got 15 teams, and we start on Tuesday. So, just the size of it. And then I think this year especially with all the teams that spent time and were consistently in the top 25, that I can't remember a regular season where each team had a stretch of maybe 6 games where they'd play 4 or 5 top 25 teams. So it was really interesting to watch the ebb and flow. And, of course, Virginia, Duke, and Carolina survived it the best. And, look at Florida State and how they started, and Clemson and how they started, because the schedule is so brutal on the front end, but then, they kind of made their way through it.
When you look at this field, you mentioned those top teams. Virginia, Carolina, Duke all could win a national championship. Florida State could give a lot of teams a lot of trouble. And then you look at Syracuse, Virginia Tech, when they get out of conference, the matchups that they pose. What do you see that makes this conference so special overall?
Well, it starts with the tradition, and it starts with the coaches. I think you look at, top to bottom, you look at the coaches in this league, and Hall of Famers, guys who will probably be in the Hall of Fame at some point in time, and the talent that the league attracts, and people have different styles, and Coach K has embraced the one and done players, and other teams have gone and maybe had a mix of that, and then others are traditionally just recruited and gotten guys older.
You mentioned the one and done. Zion Williamson plays for Coach K, was injured in the Carolina game, hasn't played since. They're talking and they're bringing him back. You had the college experience. You know what it's like to get ready for the NBA draft. What would you do? Would you play him, or would you just let him get ready for the draft?
Well, I know. Well, first it's going to be. It's not going to be Mike's decision. He'll be involved in the decision, but it's going to be the medical staff first. The family will be involved. Mike will be involved, and Zion will be involved in it. And I know that he wanted to play that night, but Mike would not let him back. That he wanted an MRI done, just to see exactly what the status of the injury was. So I know they've been very cautious with him, we'll just see. I think that maybe that little extra rest, they'll give him some action in the tournament and get ready for the NCAAs.
Final one for a Duke legend, Mike Gminski. What is your most memorable moment, player, from this tournament and this league that you've seen over the years?
Tough to pick one. 1 and 1A were the first one that we won in '78, because Duke hadn't won a tournament in a long time, and the second one my senior year, where we were really banged up during the course of the year, came in as a 6th seed and beat the 3rd seed, 2nd seed, and top seeded Maryland in 3 days to win the tournament. So that was pretty sweet as well.
The Dukies cutting down the nets on Saturday night?
I don't know. I think a lot depends on if Zion plays, how he plays. I think they've gotten a little used to playing, without him, but certainly not the same, when he's not on the floor. And, Virginia's playing as well as anybody right now. Carolina is playing really well, and Florida State has really finished strong. So it'd be kind of nice to see things go chalk and see 1, 2, 3, and 4 on Friday.
Mike Gminski, no matter what happens after this week, we've got to find you somewhere because your analysis makes a whole lot smarter when we listen to you do college basketball. Thanks for spending some time with us here on the Carolina Sports Link.
I appreciate it, Jim. Thank you.
Alrighty, that was Duke legend Mike Gminski, a Raycom analyst, joining us here on the Carolina Sports Link as we get you set for the 2019 ACC Tournament.